What happens when Lewis Carroll's whimsical wonderland collides with a dark, twisted psyche? You may be thinking of Tim Burton's 2010 Alice in Wonderland film, but I'm talking of a video game that predates that. American McGee's Alice is inspired by Lewis Carroll's books Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. It is a sequel in which Alice's house is burnt down, killing her family and leaving her as the only survivor. Catatonic from the tragedy, she is committed to Rutledge Asylum, and 10 years later she is called back to Wonderland when the White Rabbit appears to her, summoning her to save Wonderland from the corrupted rule of the Queen of Hearts, and in turn save herself from her own broken mind. Macabre is the key word that describes the game's atmosphere, as the story examines where the boundary between reality and fantasy is, and to what extent is Wonderland real, or instead a product of Alice's sick mind. Released in the year 2000, the game has gone on to become a cult classic. It had a sequel, Alice Madness Returns, in 2011, but today I'm going to revisit the original and see if it still holds up. The modified Quake 3 engine shows its age with stretched, blurry textures. Despite that though, the game is still very atmospheric as you visit a variety of settings in Wonderland, from a place of giant mushrooms and plants, to icy caverns, to a monochrome castle scene with a chessboard floor, to the Mad Hatter's creepy laboratory, to just name a few. Atmosphere and story are the game's strongest points. Essentially, the game is a 3D action and puzzle platform game. Alice attacks with a variety of weapons inspired by characters or items from the books, such as a vorpal blade, a croquet mallet, a pack of cards, an ice wand, and many others. Combat, though, can be frustrating, with some weapons awkward to use and enemies difficult to lock onto successfully. There are multiple platforms to jump around to progress through levels, but unfortunately Alice doesn't quite have the same finesse of Mario in Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Odyssey and the other 3D Mario games. There will be multiple times Alice will fall to her death, so saving frequently is advisable. Also hindering to the player is the game's camera, which can occasionally obscure the view of a vital rope or platform necessary to jump onto. There are some puzzles in the game the player must solve, but they rarely amount to anything more than flipping switches in the correct order or finding a lever to open a gate. Yet, despite these criticisms, I still enjoyed this game and think it still holds up today. It's incredibly atmospheric. This darker version of Alice is an interesting exploration of the character, and I have to wonder if it inspired Tim Burton in his 2010 Alice in Wonderland film, a film that American McGee himself didn't like, as he felt that it was scattered with not enough focus on the character of Alice and that Hollywood diluted the story too much. I happen to agree with him. His game is still considerably darker. The game contains a distinctive soundtrack by Chris Vrenna, formerly with Nine Inch Nails, and then he was the drummer for Marilyn Manson. In creating the sound design, he used real children's toys and melody boxes, along with sampled sounds from actual clocks and creaking doors. And he sampled female voices, which all adds to the haunting soundscape of Alice's deteriorating mental state. So overall, I say play this game despite its flaws and dated appearance. The game's designer American McGee worked as a level designer on id's classic Doom and Quake series of games that had incredibly intricate level design, and his influence likewise can be felt in the design here. It's certainly not the best game you'll ever play, but it is an enjoyable experience that adds to the mythos of Lewis Carroll's stories. The game may be difficult to find right now though, other than purchasing a second-hand copy, which you can probably find on eBay if you wish, or finding the game through alternative ways, such as Googling where you may find it. You can fill in the dots here. So anyway, if you can find a way to obtain it, which won't be difficult as it really is abandonware at this point, I recommend it. As though it is rough, it's a game that successfully creates an imaginary world for you to visit as you follow Alice as she attempts to regain her sanity. Sadly, the proposed third game, Alice Asylum, was cancelled, and American McGee has said that he now has no further plans for the series. But if you do want more Alice video games, you could always go back to Wyndham Classics' Alice in Wonderland that was published in 1985 for the Commodore 64 and for the Apple II. Its minimal graphics and audio give it a liminal feel that suits the theme and atmosphere of Lewis Carroll's stories. I might look at that game in more detail on this channel later, but for the meanwhile, thanks for watching, and are there any other games based on Alice in Wonderland that you've played or know of that you like? There certainly have been a lot, and stranger ones than this even. Okay, thanks for watching, and until next time.